Hi, I'm going to make a sort of long, thin, mini raised bed. I suppose you could call it a long, flat flower pot. This is going to be for some lettuces. I've got a load of lettuce seedlings growing in a tray, but they'll need to be transplanted soon, and I've got nowhere to put them. I'm going to make this thing out of some slats of wood that were part of a fence panel that blew down in my back garden a couple of months ago. And I'll show you the process in different stages. So these are the fence panel slats I'm going to use. I'm going to have, I think, 4 across at the bottom and 1 vertically on each side. I've already made one of the end sections. So it's this thing out of some other pieces of wood that I had, actually part of the same fence panel, and I just need to make the other one. I'm using some nails that were sitting around the house doing nothing. Okay, for the next stage of this construction, I'm going to use some smaller nails, panel pins, to attach the long slats to the frame that I've made. It didn't quite work out as I planned. It wasn't quite, the bottom section wasn't long enough, so I'm going to have to attach them to the outside of the frame instead of the inside, but I don't think that'll matter too much. So I'm not going to film all of this, I'm just going to show you a little bit. Oops. There you go. Putting a couple into each slat at each end. We'll see how it works. I might have to do more if it starts to get a bit wobbly. There, that's 2 for that one. Okay, so I'm nearly done. I've put on the 2 end panels at that end, and I've just got to put them on at this end. I have them here. So I'm going to nail those on at the end there. Okay, so this is done. I had to put a little, another piece on the bottom because I realised there was a gap of about 1 inch where all the soil would fall out. So I've put another extra slat on the bottom, on that side only. This side I don't think will matter too much. I'm going to fill the whole thing with a layer of gravel. If there's one thing we're not short of in this garden, it's gravel, because when we moved in the whole garden was covered with gravel, and so we're trying to use as much of it as we can on different things. So this is now going to be, I'm going to put some gravel at the bottom, then I'm going to fill it with a mixture of soil and compost. So I'm ready to put some gravel in. I happen to have a big sack of it here from when I cleared a space of gravel in our garden last week. So I'm just going to put some in. This will also weigh it down from being blown around by the wind, which can come down here like a bit of a wind tunnel. Okay, I'm ready to put some soil in now. I've got a bag of soil that I dug out from under the gravel layer in another part of the garden. We're not planning to use that for anything, so I'm going to use this soil here. Right, I think I need maybe 4 or 5 more of those. Hi again. This is the last stage of filling the mini raised bed or long flower pot or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to put some compost in. Fill it with soil. I've actually, in the end, I put 2 side planks on, and I've filled it to the top of the lower one. and I'm going to put some compost in. I've got two different lots of compost here. A big grey tub you can just about see. This is the contents of our plastic compost Dalek, you know those things. Big, looks like an upside down bin. This has been in our garden for about 2 years now. This is not all of the contents, this is some of it. You probably won't be able to see from there, but it's still got some recognisable bits. It's got like bits of eggshell and stuff like that, but most of it is well rotted down. I also discovered in emptying this that avocado stones do not rot down. They stay very recognisable. And the other bag I've got here, this is a sack, but this is also homemade. This is from a community garden that I work or volunteer at, and this is a lot wetter looking. This is from a compost heap that was one with wooden sides and an open top and just a bit of carpet over the top, so it's a lot more open to the elements than the Dalek. So this stuff feels a lot drier than this. So I'm just going to put, I'm going to empty this bag in and then put whatever I need from the bucket. Might not need it all. You might be able to see how rich this is. There's actually some worms in this. Quite a lot of worms in this actually. But it's nice and wet as well. So I'm just going to spread this over the top. And I'm back again. I'm just going to dig this in underneath the soil. Try not to kill too many of the worms. Worms are very good for soil. They actually used to think that worms were a pest back in the, I don't know, the 18th, 19th centuries, or maybe a bit longer ago than that. And but then someone realised that what they actually do, they circulate nutrients and aerate soil, and they're very good for soil. Hi, so I talked earlier on in this video about compost containers, and I have two different kinds of compost containers here. I don't have one of those big compost heaps, but I have a compost Dalek, as I called it earlier on, which this one is pretty empty because I've just emptied it and just put some bits of an old pampas grass plant that was in our front garden, and I've just put that in there at the bottom, making it nice and wet so it's not a fire risk. These you can get from local garden centres, or from sometimes local councils will give them, or you can buy them from your council at a reduced rate. This here is something that I made myself and I'm quite proud of, and it was made from pieces of the same fence panels that I talked about earlier that blew down and that I used to make the lettuce bed. I used stronger pieces of wood for the verticals, as you can see there, and you can see I've already got some vegetables and things in there. Now I've got this bed ready now, ready to plant the seedlings out in, but the seedlings themselves aren't quite ready yet. I'm going to leave them in the little mini greenhouse I've got them in for probably another week or so. I'll see how they do, and then I'll plant them out. So I'll come back to you then with another video when I'm planting them out. Bye for now.